All right, zero out of the bowl, start adding bananas. I like about 300 grams for one whole yogurt container, but the more bananas you put, the more kind of nice it tastes, but it's more calories, so. Throw it in a blender. I always put the yogurt in first. I don't know, I think it mixes better. Use one of these baster things to kind of scoop it in there, get most of it in. A tip, after you pour it out, there's gonna be a bunch in there, so instead of like trying to clean it out meticulously, I'm actually gonna make two. So I just leave it like that, and then put the other 300 grams in another yogurt in, and then I'll put the effort in to get it all out. Next up is the watermelon. I like to cut, all these edges off, so that way they come into sticks, basically. Chop the edges off like that. Gotta be a fine cut, so that way you get just enough to keep all of it without that white part. Look at that, exactly 1,000 grams. And put it in a bowl like this, so then I can just start cutting it. First in one direction, then the next, and then you basically now have little sticks that are really great to eat. So now I got 2 yogurts, which is 450 each, that's 900. 600 grams of bananas, 600 calories, and then 300 calories for a kilogram of watermelon. You can just take the sticks out and dip it in that kind of thing, or just mix it like I like to do. Bada bing. So after everything, this is 1,800 calories, and it's an enormous amount of food. This is 3.5 kilograms of food. So for the average person, this would last a lot of days. I imagine the average normie wouldn't be able to even eat this all in one day without even eating anything else. Of course, I'm gonna eat it after I eat like 20 eggs and steak and drinks, but I think another perspective to take on this would be take like, the average person who's trying to lose weight. And like, oh man, like, okay, I'm only supposed to eat, say, 2,000 calories or whatever. Or I can only eat 2,200 calories a day, but I need a deficit. I got to eat 1,800 or 1,900, to lose weight. But I'm hungry and, I want to eat more, and what can I do? And I have a sweet tooth, and, all these combinations of typical things for like your average person who, is having a hard time being in a calorie deficit. Bam. Where else can you spend like $12? The watermelon's a little expensive. You can use oranges instead, by the way, equally as good. A little bit more calories, but not much. You can where else are you going to be able to eat 7.7 pounds of food for like $12, $13 and it only be 1,800 calories and 175 grams of protein? So many people are like, oh, I'm trying to get, 1 gram per pound, and they weigh like 140 and they just struggle all day. Bam, here you go, 175. You're like maxing out protein now. You're gonna be jacked. The only thing this food doesn't have is fat. So you could put avocados in this instead. You could eat eggs, you could eat a steak after that, besides this. But yeah, you can calculate this as needed. But if you actually wanted, you could literally eat this entire thing throughout the whole day. If you're like not a monstrous glutton like me and you just would probably struggle to eat this for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, again, not advising you do that every day. But for example, on a day, you could be like, yeah, I'm really going to enjoy this high protein, low calorie, basically dessert, and then have, a few other things with it, like an egg sandwich or, whatever. But bam, now you have this. Like, where else are you going to be able to only eat 1,800 calories and have a hard time eating it all because it's almost 8 pounds of food? That's, it's hard to beat from that perspective. And so instead of, hearing what I just said and thinking, oh my God, is that what I'm going to eat all day, every day? Like, no, but this is one more thing you add to your repertoire. And now you have more tools on your tool belt to just be like, oh yeah, you know what I'm in the mood for? I'm in the mood for that creamy banana, delicious dessert stuff. Because otherwise I was about to go have ice cream and this and that, and like all these other really bad, high calorie, no protein things that are going to mess up your weight loss journey or your maintenance journey. And instead you could go for one of these and be very satisfied and not very, this is also something that I bring to like family gatherings. I'll bring this to a family gathering and, some people enjoy it, but at the very least, I know I'm going to eat some of it and then not crave the garbage that's there. It's also not expensive. These yogurts are $3 at Aldi, $3.20, and there's 80 grams of protein in the whole thing. So between the two, that's 160 grams of protein and a bunch of really quality carbs. That tastes great. And that's that. Once you dip it in the banana, it's fantastic. I usually use a spoon and scoop it out. I eat a lot more of the banana with it, but that does make it a lot more calorific. If you're thinking 1,800 calories, this isn't exactly low calorie. It's because this is an enormous amount. You could use one yogurt, 300 grams of bananas, you could eat half of that. Even 500 calories of this combination is going to be like quite a large amount. So 1,800 is what happens when you bike and run all day and always want to eat. But yeah,